Good morning. Today is February 19th. This is the Government Operations and Health Facilities Subcommittee of the Health and Government Operations Committee. Today's work group, we will be considering 7 bills. We have with us committee counsels Lindsay Rowe and Aaron Hopwood. Aaron has only one bill with us today, and it's Delegate Embry's bill, House Bill 428. So let's start there.
There's been a reprint provided of this bill that incorporates amendments that are being offered by Delegate Embry. The bill prohibits the creation of a lien on owner-occupied residential property by contract or as a result of a breach of contract for the payment of medical debt. In the reprint of the bill on page 3, the definition of medical debt is amended to mean a debt owed by a consumer to a person whose primary business is providing medical services, products, or devices, or to the person's agent or assignee for the provision of the medical services, products, or devices. Medical debt does not include debt charged to a credit card unless the credit card is issued under an open-end or closed-end credit plan offered specifically for the payment of healthcare services. The bill provides that a lien on owner-occupied residential property may not be created by contract or as the result of a breach of contract for the payment of medical debt. The bill also provides that a complaint seeking a money judgment for medical debt must include the address of the primary residence of the defendant. And then if you look on page, at the bottom of page 3 of the reprint up to the top of page 4, the amended bill provides that if a lien is created in violation of the section, the court shall remove the lien. The language that would have authorized the court to award to the owner of the property economic damages as a result of the violation is struck. And then the bill provides that its provisions only apply prospectively.
Thank you. Delegate Embry.
Thank you so much. And can I start by thanking Erin, who is one of my favorite people to work with, and she's been very patient. There's been some wordsmithing. I just wanted to add, and this is something that's evolved over the last 24 hours. So as you remember from the hearing, there were two areas of opposition. One was the creditors bar, and they asked to remove, which we did, and which Aaron just described, removing the damages, the economic damages available. So that's gone. The second issue was around the definition, and the debt collection industry, as well as those who provide these medical credit cards, really wanted not to be covered by this bill. And we've struggled with that, I'll be honest, because about a quarter of medical debt does appear on these products or other financing products. But in recognition of the challenges, we have decided to work in the interim with the interested groups. And so they have asked for one final amendment, which is to replace the word specifically in the amendment with the word solely. That does limit its applicability pretty significantly, but we do recognize the challenges, and so we'd like to, I would offer the amendment to the amendment of changing that word, and with that, I think they are no longer in opposition, but I'll let them speak for themselves, and with that, I would ask, we'll leave it to any questions you have and also ask for your favorable consideration.
Can I move that amendment, Delegate, Mr. Chair?
Thank you. All 3 amendments, Delegate?
All the amendments, including the amendment to the amendment.
Thank you. We have a motion on the amendment.
Second.
And a second. Discussion on the bill. Yeah, Delegate Johnson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Delegate Embry. I want to make sure I'm clear on what you're doing with this last minute amendment. Exactly.
No, I appreciate the question. So the challenge, and we're not alone in this, that states have had is how to regulate medical debt in the context of these relatively new products, these medical credit cards. And the challenge is they are marketed for medical purposes in part, so paying for doctor's visits, paying for medical supplies, but they are also usable for wellness products, sort of a whole plethora of things they can be used. I think if they're, and there are different categories, but they can be used at drugstores for anything sold at the drugstore. So states have struggled with this, as have we. Virginia, the language we're using mirrors what Virginia has done. It's pretty limited. New York went further, using specifically and applying their law more broadly, but there are challenges in for the debt collection because these credit cards cover more than just medical supplies and services. So anyway, this is the compromise that the advocates and the industry have all sort of think is the right step for now. But I think it's worth this committee looking at the issue of medical credit cards perhaps more intensively, because they are, again, expanding. Usage is expanding, and they have ballooning interest rates, and so are causing issues for some users. Because they're zero interest until they kick in, and then some people are struggling with that. But I'm suggesting that we postpone that for legislation, perhaps next year.
Okay, all right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
You're welcome, Delegate Johnson. Delegate Taveras.
Thank you. So Delegate Embry, just to dovetail Delegate Johnson's question, I don't mind narrowing it down, but exactly where are we making those changes in this document? So are we
Delegate, I
looking
can
at
answer
page
that.
2? Huh?
I can answer that if you want me to just
Go ahead, Aaron.
Yes.
the specific.
Aaron.
So on page 3 of 4, if you look after line 21, there's a where it says medical debt does not include. You see there?
Yes.
Okay, so it would, right now, it says medical debt does not include debt charged to a credit card unless the credit card is issued under an open-end or closed-end credit plan offered specifically for the payment of healthcare services. Delegate Embry's proposed amendment would change the word specifically to solely.
Solely.
So that is the only change to the reprint. That's
Got it.
Any other discussion on the amendments? Delegate Kipke.
I'm not sure. Well, I'll just ask the question. If I get one of these credit cards and make myself more handsome with plastic surgery,
An impossible, Delegate.
Impossible.
thank you. I feel the same way about you, Chairman. Does this, and then I don't feel like paying the bill, what does it do to me?
With the amendment that I'm proposing today, the medical credit cards, all non-medical are already not covered, but the medical credit cards will not be, that procedure would not be covered by this bill with the amendment that I proposed.
So it does nothing to me. I can still have to pay my bills.
Well, it's just all this bill does is protect your home from a lien. You're the primary resident. So yes, you now could have a lien placed on your home if you get a medical credit card, use that to pay for some totally unnecessary beautification. You will owe that debt, and all debt collection options will be available to those you owe.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Chisholm.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Did we pass your bill last year and this is an addition to it?
It did not make it through the Senate. We refined it because one of the things we learned last year was that money judgment conversions were not covered by the bill that you very kindly passed out of the House last year. So this, we worked, and I want to thank the Vice Chair. I cannot thank her enough, but she and a number of us worked with the judiciary to also include the conversion of money judgments to liens, so that it's more comprehensive than last year, although it has the same exact purpose.
Okay, so going back to what Aaron just read. So when we talk open-ended, meaning, you don't have a maturity date and it's almost like a credit line. So if you were to go into one of the establishments like Delegate Kipke was talking about, with that small chance that he could make himself look better, and sometimes they do offer, well, we can do all this for you, and we have a third party that offers financing. I know that there's a lot of dental surgeons that do this as well. Would they then be captured in this if it's just kind of like an open, and you have a $20,000 line, but you don't need to take all $20,000, but X amount goes towards that. That's an open-ended. I'm assuming they would then be wrapped into this. Is that correct?
No, well, that's what we learned. We've met with the credit card providers is that these medical cards are not limited to just medical services. So that's why solely really cuts out virtually all. We could not find, well, it's possible. We'd like to keep that, we'd still like to keep that subsection in there because it is possible there will be a medical credit card that is only for medical services. But since they are overwhelmingly for all kinds of things like spa treatments and they would not fall into the definition. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, I'm just curious. I didn't go back and look at the testimony. Did any of the mortgage companies or banks weigh in on this? I know this wouldn't be a senior lien. It would fall down on the list when you're talking about a house lien, but I was just curious if they interjected at all.
They did not. And in fact, because of an issue raised in the Senate about title searches, I sent the bill to the Land Title Search Association and they said it did not affect them. So they sent us a letter saying they had no position.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Delegate.
Thank you,
Thank-
Delegate Chisholm.
Sure.
Delegate Hill?
Yeah, I don't know if this elucidates a little bit to what Delegate Chisholm was asking about, but let's say someone is having an elective medical procedure done, right? And they use one of these credit cards. Unlike the traditional credit card, the business gets paid their entire fee minus a chunk that the credit card company. So the provider's covered. Now what the patient owes is the credit card issuer. So the provider is out of the loop. They've had their services because that's their whole thing. It's elective. You got to pay me before I'll touch you because I can't repossess your body. All right. So the credit card issuer is essentially standing in and saying, I'll advance the money and I'll take the risk. That may help. And so it's now between the creditor who advanced the money and the patient. And with this amendment, that debt would not fall under the bill, presumably because it's elective. It is not significantly different than if you decided you wanted to buy a more expensive car and you couldn't afford to do it. Is that fair, Delegate Embry?
It would not be covered with the bill as amended, as the amendment is proposed. Yep.
Am I the only one not hearing anything?
Yeah, Delegate Kerr, we can't hear you if you're talking, but you're not marked as muted.
No, I wasn't.
Oh, okay, sorry.
I was frozen on my end.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm back apparently.
So Delegate Embry just answered Delegate Chisholm's question.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
I have a follow-up. Actually,
Go ahead.
answered Terry Hill's question.
Okay, go ahead.
I saw Lisa Jones in here, and I saw PRA Group had that letter of opposition. Does this address everything that they were concerned about?
Somebody from PRA have a response?
Lisa Harris Jones on behalf of PRA. If we, with the solely amendment, we are comfortable.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the amendments. All in favor of adopting the amendments, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed to adopting the amendments? Do I hear a motion on the bill as
Move the
amended?
bill as amended.
Second.
I have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. Any discussion on the amended bill? I will call for a vote. All in favor of the bill as amended, say aye.
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 All right.
Any opposed? Okay, the bill is unanimously moved forward to the full committee. Thank you, Aaron. Let's move to the Lindsay bills. Lindsay, let's start with HB 73.
This bill was discussed last week and held. The bill does three things. It's a departmental bill from DGS that raises the size limit for real property leases exempt from state procurement law from 2,500 square feet to 5,000 square feet. It decreases the number of days that DGS must advertise a need for the state to rent building space from 30 days to 20 days before proposals for a lease are due. And the bill, as introduced, repeals a requirement that proposed leases be advertised in daily or weekly newspapers, and it requires instead that they be posted on the DGS website and in e-Maryland Marketplace. The bill was held last week based on discussions on that third item to discuss requiring both the newspaper advertisement and the e-Maryland Marketplace advertisement. Since then, B&T actually on the crossfile reported the bill out favorable. They voted on it last week, reported it out favorable. It was held on the floor and special ordered to tomorrow. Yesterday, B&T voted on an amendment to do what I just described, which is retain the requirement that proposed leases be advertised in newspapers and that they be posted on the DGS website and e-Maryland Marketplace. So that amendment is going to be a floor amendment offered by B&T tomorrow on the Senate floor.
Move the amendment.
Okay, I'm having connection difficulties here.
We see you in a motion.
Okay, it's the rest of you are all frozen and I lose the audio. Okay, the amendment's been moved. Has it been seconded?
I just second it.
Okay. Thank you. Discussion. Delegate Chisholm.
So we have the amendment that's gonna mirror the one that B&T is offering on the floor tomorrow. Am I correct, Lindsay?
I will have that ready. Yeah. So that's based on their discussions and voting yesterday. But like I said, it's going to be offered on the floor tomorrow, as I understand it. Like they said in their voting session, this will be a floor amendment for Thursday. And we vote Friday. So before then, I will hopefully know what happens on the Senate floor on Thursday, but that's the expectation.
Okay, but we have that amendment.
Yes, I can get that.
Okay, thank you.
Delegate Shalega.
I mean, should we just hold it until next week and see what the Senate does? Well, I mean, we still have plenty of time.
Is that a request to hold it?
Yeah, I think we're on a motion on the amendment. So, I don't know if you want to move that or,
I mean, I can withdraw the motion on the amendment until we have it if we're gonna.
Yeah, if
delay
that's the way we're
week.
gonna go, I don't want to.
All right, I'll withdraw the amendment motion. We've had the
Okay.
discussion.
And I'll second then,
Okay,
not withdraw.
Delegate Kaiser.
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I mean, I understand Delegate Shalega's concern, but if we have this amendment in place and it was offered and we found anything new that happened tomorrow, we could do something different in full committee on Friday. And then that keeps this bill moving. As we all know, the onslaught will happen soon enough, so
Yeah.
That would be my recommendation, that we just keep moving and we adjust Friday and everyone will agree with Delegate Shalega's hold on Friday if this hasn't been worked on properly in the Senate.
Is that acceptable, Delegate Shalega?
sure, I don't see the rush because the Senate bill's moving, but yeah, I'm not going to argue with Delegate Kaiser.
Okay, then let's go ahead and act on this bill. And if there,
So I'll remove my removal.
okay. And Delegate Taveras, will you second your second? Okay, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. Any further discussion? Seeing none, call for a vote. All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposition to the amendment?
No,
Okay,
Delegate Shalega's no on the amendment.
all right,
As am I.
okay.
My hand's on Mr.
Delegate Chisholm,
Yes, sorry,
you also opposed to the amendment?
correct.
Then that gives us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to 3. The amendment passes 5 to 3. On the bill as amended.
Move the bills along.
Move.
Okay, we have a
Move-
motion from Delegate Johnson, a second from Delegate Hill. Discussion on the amended bill. Seeing none, I'll call for a vote. All in favor of the bill as amended, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition to the bill as amended? Okay, I don't see any opposition. So we will move the bill forward to the full committee on Friday. Lindsay, let's go on to 331.
This bill authorizes the Public Access Ombudsman to delegate to a staff member of the Office of the Public Access Ombudsman any of the powers and duties granted to the Ombudsman. I circulated an amendment on this one that came from the chair of HGO that just clarifies that the delegation should be appropriate to the staff members' training and expertise. That's specifically because there's a requirement that the ombudsman shall be admitted to practice law in the state. And I understand it that the staff person the ombudsman has now is also an attorney, but this applies to future ombudsmen, future staff members. And so the chair felt that she wanted to make sure that it was appropriate delegation.
Move the amendment.
Amendment's been moved
Second.
and seconded. Discussion on the amendment? All in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposition to the amendment? Do I
Move the
have a
bill as
motion on the
amended.
bill? Okay, Delegate Hill moves the bill as amended,
Second.
and Delegate Kaiser seconds. Discussion on the amended bill. All in favor of the bill as amended, say aye.
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 Opposition to the amended bill? Okay, this one will move forward. Delegate White Holland.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, colleagues.
Lindsay, HB 376, Cybersecurity Council.
This bill requires the governor rather than the attorney general to appoint various members of the Cybersecurity Council and invite as appropriate representatives from specified federal agencies to serve on the council. Additionally, instead of the attorney general or the attorney general's designee serving as the chair of the council, beginning October 1st, 2025, and then every 2 years thereafter, the council must elect a chair from among the members. I circulated an amendment on this one that was suggested in testimony offered on the bill that adds a member of the Cybersecurity Association to the council, like as specifically named member for that organization.
Okay, and it was you said it was amended?
That amendment was suggested in testimony from the Cybersecurity Association.
Okay. Do I hear a motion on that amendment?
Move the amendment.
Okay,
Second,
we have a motion to second on the amendment. Any discussion? Delegate Hill.
Yeah, I had a question. If we moved that amendment, that there were two parts. One, I don't think it matters, but whether it's now odd or even, but the seat that used to be that was changed by the bill
Okay.
and the amendment, does that stay
Yeah, hang on a sec.
open? In other words, does Cybersecurity Association get two seats because they have one now? It's just
Okay,
not a
come on in,
name.
Dan. I just need you to look at the bill.
Delegate
that you're
Yuki,
on.
you are not muted.
Thank you.
I was just going to keep listening to what he was talking about. See if we discover something.
So, I mean, that would really be up to the governor and the governor's office of appointments because the governor's filling those other seats. So if they have a specifically named seat, presumably there would be interest in some other organization filling the seat instead, unless there is
So it might give him
thought
or
that there's
her.
merit to having two seats for some reason represented there.
Okay, so we'll give him or her some flexibility to assign someone not named or not assign someone named. Okay, thank you. That makes perfect sense. I don't know why I didn't think of it. Thanks, Lindsay.
Is anyone else here? Oh, we're still on the amendment?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Let me go ahead and call a vote for the amendment if there's no more discussion. All in favor of adopting the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposition to the amendment? Okay, the amendment is adopted. On the bill as amended?
Move the bill as amended.
Second,
Okay, we have a motion to second. Discussion on the bill
I
as
got my
amended.
little rinky.
Okay, I don't see any hands. Call for a vote then. On the bill as amended, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposition to the bill as amended? Seeing none, we'll move this one forward with a unanimous recommendation from the subcommittee. House Bill 421.
This bill expands the purpose of the 911 Trust Fund to include providing funds for costs related to the operation of the 988 suicide prevention hotline that may be shared with 911 activities, including software interfaces and joint training. The bill also repeals the prohibition that prevents the 911 Trust Fund from being used for any purpose associated with 988, and instead prohibits it from being used for any costs that solely support 988. There are no amendments on this one, and the cross-file passed the Senate 46-0.
Hey, seems pretty straightforward. Delegate Johnson, anything you need to let us know?
No, I think it was explained pretty well. Thank you.
Okay. Any discussion or I have a motion on the bill?
Move
Move the
favorable.
bill.
Okay,
Second.
we have a motion
Second.
and a second. Discussion on the bill? All in
I have
favor?
a question.
Okay, go ahead, Delegate Shaliga.
Thank you. What is the fiscal note on this?
So the fiscal note says that there's a minimal special fund expenditure increase to the 911 trust fund, but also a special fund expenditure decrease for the 988 trust fund due to efficiencies from the bill.
Okay, so it's not gonna increase a fee on any of our cell phone bills or anything like that.
No.
Thank you.
Okay, good question. Delegate Chisholm.
Just to clarify, I was reading the fiscal note. It looks like it's just basically a wash, moving funds from one side to the other.
Yeah, I think that's the way it was explained in the bill hearing. All right, I'll go ahead and call for the vote then. All in favor of House Bill 421, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition to House Bill 421? We will move that one forward to the full committee with a unanimous recommendation. House Bill 423.
This bill authorizes the Maryland Department of Emergency Management and the Maryland 911 Board to adopt regulations to implement and enforce the requirements of state law. There are no amendments on this one, and the cross-file passed the Senate 45-0.
Okay, Delegate Lopez.
Nothing to add. That was beautiful, succinct, and dare I say elegant, Lindsay Rowe.
Move
Okay.
favorable.
Okay, and a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor of House Bill 423, say aye.
Really appreciate
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Anyone opposed to House Bill 423? Okay, we'll move that one onto the full committee. We've already dealt with 428. Okay, the last bill of the work session, Lindsay, 455.
This bill requires the Department of Veterans and Military Families to designate a location for an American Braille tactile flag to be placed on one or more state veteran cemeteries as authorized by the Secretary to honor members of the Uniformed Services, veterans, and other individuals in the state who are blind or visually impaired. The sponsor has offered an amendment, which I circulated, that makes a clarifying change to the preamble. In the preamble, it says the American Braille tactile flag was created by the Kansas Braille Transcription Institute in Wichita, Kansas, to allow blind Americans and blind veterans to experience the American flag. And this clarifies that that was done through the American Braille Flag Project.
Great. Delegate Kaiser.
What she said.
Okay.
Move the amendment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second on the amendment. All in favor of adopting the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Doesn't look like it. Okay.
Move the bill as
Amendment's
amended.
adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposition to the amended bill? Seeing none, we will move the bill favorable with amendments to the full committee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Delegate Kerr,
Yes,
did we do HB 268 or was there something that I missed? Second one on the list.
we held 268 till.
Okay.
next week.
Thanks, I didn't hear that.
Okay. Yeah, I may have announced it before you were able to join us.
Yeah,
My apologies.
Delegate Kerr, I apologize. I think I was using the original link and I think a new one was sent last night. So I was
Okay.
I was holding for like 5 minutes at the other
Oh,
Zoom.
no.
So I apologize.
Oh, well, we were pretty efficient with our time. Looks like we got got through the whole agenda with some time to spare before we meet together in the committee room at 1 o'clock.
Motion to adjourn?
Okay, I'll accept it.
Second,
We are
I'm good.
adjourned.